All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, Gervonta Davis most likely has a new opponent as new rankings have come out. So when you pay attention to those, you know what most likely is going to happen next. And also a major decision from the IBF signals Al Haymon trapping in Terence Crawford in the 154-pound division. We'll talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 135-pound division, also in the 154-pound division. But all of this is really related to some political moves that have been taking place in boxing, where Terence Crawford signed with Turki Al-Sheikh. Turki Al-Sheikh is also looking to sign or deal with Shakur Stevenson. And so in both the 135-pound division and the 154-pound division, politics are playing out in a very interesting fashion. And a couple plays just got made that I want to keep you up to date with, so while we look at what is most likely going to be taking place in the future. But before I do that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you guys so much for your continued support. It really makes a huge difference to the channel. But let's get into this. And shout out to Matty O, shout out to Barbara D, and everybody else that supports the channel. So Gervonta Davis lost apparently two opponents as Shakur Stevenson signals that he's reached a deal with somebody in a tweet that he let out. And Vasily Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson are at a Turki Al-Sheikh event going back and forth with each other about fighting. So many people are asking, what's next with Gervonta? As Gervonta lost the Lomachenko fight, he also lost it as in he wasn't able to get the fight, not able apparently to get a Shakur Stevenson fight. And then the third option that people were looking at was Isaac Cruz. And of course, Isaac Cruz is now off the table because Isaac Cruz lost to Rayo Valenzuela on that same card. So topsy-turvy, what is Gervonta going to do? And we have a new leading candidate, and we do not need necessarily to have behind the scenes insiders tell us, when we can just look at what the moves of the insiders were. And how do you know that? How do you know what moves are being made by people in Gervonta's camp or in the PBC or in different promotional companies as it relates to setting up opponents next? You pay attention to what the sanctioning bodies do and what changes happen in their rankings after certain fights take place. In this last fight that took place for Gervonta Davis beat Frank Martin. So Frank Martin in the new rankings for the WBA, the belt that Gervonta Davis has, he now dropped in his rankings. So who's the number one, the number two, the number three, the number four, number five guy? And why is that important? Let me tell you why it's important. Because Gervonta Davis can only fight in his next fight a certain type of fighter. And that is a fighter who is either a champion in that division, or if he's fighting and defending his title, somebody that's ranked in his division. Somebody typically within the top 10 for a voluntary fight. So who's the most highly rated guy there? And it also has to be somebody that you know that there's no real political hurdles for, like somebody that is already represented by Al Haymon. Well, who do we find at number 4? We find Shakur Stevenson's last opponent, Edwin De Los Santos, at number 4. that more than likely is the guy that Gervonta Davis will be fighting next. And there's also a storyline with Edwin De Los Santos, because Edwin De Los Santos is somebody that fought in his last fight Shakur Stevenson, but Shakur Stevenson had a very poor performance, according to many people, and it looked like Shakur didn't want no smoke with Edwin De Los Santos. So Gervonta Davis fighting him next is a good look for any type of conversation that you have around the fight, saying, okay, well, Edwin De Los Santos lost. He did knock out the reigning 140-pound WBA champion, Rayo Valenzuela, knocked him out, and had the reigning WBC 135-pound champion running around the ring, apparently for his dear life. So that's the story that looks most accurate, and I'm telling you, that's most likely going to be the next fight. Which brings us to our second section of this video, where we talk about a second major move that transpired with the International Boxing Federation, the IBF, at 154 pounds, where they ordered their current champion, Bakram Murtazaliev of Russia, 6 foot, 154-pound champion, who won the vacant IBF title when he beat Jack Colquet in April, just in April a few months ago. He became the IBF champion when he won that over there in Germany. Well, he's been ordered to fight Tim Tszyu. So what do you have? You have Murtazaliev, who won a fight against Jack Cottrell, and who previous to that, though, had fought on PBC cards, but is not necessarily known as a PBC fighter. In fact, I do believe the Jack Colquet fight, though, was in Germany. So, but Jack Colquet is typically somebody I thought that was working is often on Matchroom Fights, but he's a German fighter as well. But anyway, Murtazaliev is going to be fighting Tim Tszyu, who is a PBC fighter. So you have, and then if you listen to the announcement about Tim Tszyu and not having heard back, Turki Al-Sheikh not having heard back from Tim Tszyu, now you know why he's saying he hadn't heard from Tim Tszyu, because Tim Tszyu already had a fight ordered with him for the IBF with Murtazaliev. So Tim Tszyu does not have to fight or be an opponent for Terence Crawford to get a title shot. He's going to get a title shot for the IBF. So what do you see taking place in the 154-pound division? You clearly have 3 of the belts that are held by PBC fighters. And all 3 of the belts in their very next fight, in those 3 of those, the IBF, the WBA, the IBF, the WBC, and the WBO, all of those guys are going to be fighting PBC's fights the next fight. Now watch this move. Also, you say that you have the WBO belt is held, the Terence Crawford is a mandatory for the WBO belt. Guess what? Shout out to Knockout Boxing 86 TV, who reminded me of this fact. You have right this second, Jermell Charlo, who's in recess, a champion in recess with the WBA, that can immediately ask to fight for the WBA title as soon as he comes back, which could force Terence Crawford to have to fight Jermell Charlo. But anyway you go, those are all PBC fighters surrounding Terence Crawford at 154 pounds. He either has to fight Sebastian Fundora for the WBO, that is a PBC fighter, or he has to fight, he fights for the IBF. You're probably going to have Tim Tszyu. And then for the WBC, you've got Fundora, but you also have Errol Spence, who very well may do that. And check this out. If the WBA orders a fight between Terence Crawford and Jermell Charlo, then Terence Crawford's going to have to take that fight regardless of what the WBO says about his next fight, which is not even scheduled for Fundora. So all around, very interesting political plays being made. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.